When a building is designed, whether it's flashy or not, hundreds of hours of trial and error are spent by the architects where every single thing, every tiny detail is perfected as per the design intention. That being said, watch design is not so different. Hey guys, I'm Abdullah at Our Connection, and today we're talking about the best watches for architects. In architecture, the form, function, materials, history, innovation, all of these things are considered. So I decided to look at watch design elements in the same way. As a result, I came up with a list of watches that I believe architects will definitely appreciate. Now, I understand that some of these traits may overlap, but for this list, I'm just going to focus on one trait per watch. So the watches I'll be talking about vary largely in their price point, starting from $150 all the way up to around $30,000. So this is not necessarily a recommendation list of watches to buy, but rather watches to study, admire, and appreciate. Looking from a historical perspective, I'm going to start off with the Timex Marlin hand-wound. So Timex is a popular brand in the watch community. Formed in the 1853 in the US, it has always been a historically significant brand, with its watches even worn by the army in World War I. The Marlin handwound is a reissue of the original 1960s Marlin announced by the brand in 2017. Looking at the watch, we have a mechanical hand-wound seagull movement with a polished stainless steel case, 34mm case size, 41mm lug-to-lug distance, 10mm of thickness, 30 meters of water resistance, a domed acrylic crystal, and a price of $199. The watch comes with a sunburst champagne dial and an 18mm lug width, which means that you can easily swap out the strap for a different one because a large variety of 18mm straps are readily available in the market. With additional details like the stylized numerals and the minute track, the watch doesn't necessarily have a minimalist design, but it definitely has a strong personality. Next, looking at a watch from its innovation point of view, I'm going to talk about the Rado Original Diastar, which I also happen to be wearing today. Before the Rado Diastar made debut in 1962, watch cases were mostly made of steel and gold, but Rado decided to do something completely different. They experimented with newer high-tech materials like ceramic and tungsten, which again had never been used in watches before, and the brand eventually came up with the world's first scratch-proof watch case. Now, just to give you an idea of how hard this material is, stainless steel softens at around 1000 degrees Celsius, whereas tungsten melts at 3 times that value. Because of their expertise with materials, Rado became kind of a materials lab for the Swatch group. So the Diastar comes in several variations from chronograph, automatic, quartz, but the one we're looking at today is the Rado Original Diastar reference R12391103, which houses an ETA quartz movement with a day-date complication, a scratch-proof oblong-shaped hard metal case with case size of 35.1mm, thickness of 8.4mm, water resistance of 30 meters, a sapphire crystal, and a price tag of $500. When searching for a watch with high functionality, of course, I had to go with the JLC Reverso. JLC Reverso was founded in 1833 in Switzerland, with its Reverso line debuting in 1933. So around the time when the company started, watchmakers would typically buy components from different manufacturers to construct their own movements. The whole concept of in-house movements didn't really exist until JLC popularized the idea by starting to create in-house movements. And just adding to that point, Many people don't actually know that JLC used to produce movement blanks for the likes of Patek Philippe. So when they're called the watchmakers of the watchmakers, yeah, you know where that's coming from. The Reverso line comes in several variations in terms of both the design and the complications. But today we're looking at the JLC Tribute Duo Reverso, which is the 85th anniversary edition. The watch comes with a manual wind caliber 854A/2 with a 45-hour power reserve, housed in a stainless steel case with a case size of 42.8 by 25.5 millimeters, thickness of 10.3 millimeters, water resistance of 30 meters, a sapphire crystal, and a price tag of $12,000. With the case designed in accordance to the golden ratio and the Art Deco characteristics, the Reverso Duo Face is definitely a watch that will be appreciated by architects. However, the most special feature of the Reverso Duo Face is when the dial is turned, it reveals a second dial that not only completely changes the look of the watch, but can also allow you to set a second time zone, making it very versatile. Now, looking at the form factor, at number 4, we have the Bulgari Octo Finissimo. Bulgari, founded in 1884 in Italy, started as a luxury jewelry company, but later also started making other luxury goods and Swiss-made watches. The Octo Finissimo by Gerald Genta, who just happens to be the legend who designed the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak and the Patek Philippe Nautilus, helped to put Bulgari timepieces on the map, especially with the Octo line and its world-breaking records. When looking at the Octo Finissimo, the first thing I notice is the unified relationship between the watch case and its bracelet. Typically, watches and their bracelets are not built hand in hand in terms of quality. As a general rule, you don't allow a watch strap or a bracelet become a deciding factor when buying a watch. That's because generally most watch straps are not made with the same quality as the watch case. But when it comes to the Octo Finissimo, the integrated bracelet is an essential part of the overall design. I personally have never seen such harmony between a watch case and its bracelet to this level. Apart from that, this watch is all about the form. From its record-breaking ultra-thin movement and design to its sharp octagonal lines and formation. Weighing only 60 grams and with 5mm thickness, this watch isn't only one of the thinnest mechanical movements in the world, but also one of the lightest. Now, some people may have a problem with its weight because, when you're spending so much money on a watch, you would obviously want to feel its presence on your wrist. But to me, the absence of its weight really allows for the form to stand out and be experienced to its fullest, which I feel was the intention all along. So looking at the watch, we have the BVL 138 Finissimo extra thin automatic in-house movement with an octagonal sandblasted ceramic case, 40mm of case diameter, 45mm lug-to-lug distance, a mere 5.15mm thickness, 30 meters of water resistance, a sapphire crystal, and a price tag of $19,750. If you're enjoying this video, just take a second and just hit that like, subscribe, and the bell icon. That helps a lot. At number 5, focusing on the texture of the dial, we have the grail watch of architects, the H.Moser Venta Black. Many people outside of the watch community may not have heard of this brand. It's a relatively small company with only around 70 people, and it releases about 1,500 watches per year. Hendrik Moser, coming from a family of watchmakers, learned the craft and founded the company H.Moser & C in the year 1828. So these guys have been making watches over almost 200 years, making them older than Patek Philippe, Audemars Piguet, and Rolex. A lot of watchmakers, when they claim that their movements are in-house, they could still be using specific third-party components that might or might not later be modified. The Moser movements are as in-house as they get, with even the balance wheel, which is one of the most complicated parts to produce, is created in-house. So today we're looking at the H.Moser Venturerventa Black. The watch takes mixed design cues from the Bauhaus and the convex forms of the 1960s. But we don't really care about that. What I want to focus on is the material of the dial. According to H.Moser, it is an extraordinary material developed for the use in astrophysics and thermocamouflage. Composed of carbon nanotubes 10,000 times finer than a human hair, Venta Black absorbs 99.965% of photons. As our eyes need reflected light to create images, Venta Black is perceived as the absence of matter, a black hole. If you see any reflections on the dial, either in pictures or in person, note that the reflection is from the domed crystal and not the dial itself. So looking at the watch, the Moser Venta Black comes with the HMC 327 hand-wound, hand-finished in-house movement with a polished and brushed white gold case, a case size of 39 millimeters, lug-to-lug distance of 44.8 millimeters, thickness of 11.9 millimeters, water resistance of 30 meters, a domed sapphire crystal, and a price tag of $27,600. So there you have it. There are still a lot more watches that I will be covering in the future, but let me know in the comments, what did you guys think about these watches, and what other watches do you think are great for architects? Again, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.